Hey, this is for you busy working moms, okay? As a fellow mom myself, I see being a mom and a mompreneur, it's pretty intense. So are you a busy working mom that you're working your butt off, you're trying to build a home-based business, but like how are you balancing your work and your life, your family? What are you doing to make sure that all the needs are met? So you see, I've got four little children. I've got a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and wait, hold on. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old who's almost 6, and then I have a 1-year-old. And I've noticed that the more time I spend here, the more time I spend with my face in my computer, working on my business, doing what I need to do, the more disconnected me and my kiddos become, my family becomes. And I see these repercussions already kind of uh, being like a domino effect through my family system, where my children and I used to be very cuddly. I'd hug my kids all the time and share love with them. Now, especially my little 6-year-old, 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old, he has a hard time hugging me. And that could be various factors, but the fact that I'm here all the time and I haven't been spending a whole lot of time embracing them like I used to. I feel like I see that this vicious cycle starting to rear its ugly head. And this is something that I have determined within myself to stop. I know that building a business is important. And I know that building a business is going to enable my husband and I to have a beautiful life once we meet certain goals. And our life is already beautiful. And I think that that's a point too, that many of us, we overlook how beautiful our life already is. We may not have the dollars in the bank, or we may not be able to travel to the places we want to travel yet. Or, there may be things that we haven't gotten down yet. But if we can just embrace the moment for what it is and embrace our life where we are and see the beauty in it, that's a good start. But I do have some tips for you, my fellow mama, that will hopefully help you to feel better about your entrepreneurial journey and kind of help you keep sane in the midst of all of this. My tip number one is obviously, and I think that you already know this, but don't leave your kids behind. Don't be so set on building a business that you forget about your children. And of course your spouse too, but your kids, they need you to be present with them. They need you to be there for them. They don't really care about what riches you're trying to build or what kind of, legacy you're trying to leave them. They just want mommy there right now. So don't neglect that. I know there have been times where I've been so lost in my work and I have ashamedly, blown up at them because they wanted some attention from me. And I'm like, can't you see that I'm working so hard for you? And it's like, come on, mama, don't do that. Don't do that. They need you. They need you to take time to look them in the eyes and say, what's up, baby? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on, and just be okay with it. So don't leave them behind. Don't forget that what you're doing is for them, but also in the midst of it, they grow up so fast. Don't leave them behind. Another tip number 2 is, spend in addition to that, right? Spend intentional time with them. Make sure that you're having mommy son, mommy daughter dates. Take time to be with them with no electronics, no cell phone, just mommy and child. And, if you could do that once a week, dedicated per kid. I know with 4 kids myself, I have a lot of time with my infant because he's still nursing and we're always together. And he's a little bit of a different dynamic, right? But the older kids that are more aware of what's going on, those are really, it's hard for me having 3 of them. Okay, one night per week for, 3 nights per week for one time, with the kids, and or set aside time for the kids. It's challenging, but you don't have to like take them out of the house, or you could take them on a little walk, or you could just go sit on your deck and talk to them for a little bit. Just something to intentionally spend time with them, to let them know that they're seen, to let them know that they're heard, just for you to be present with them. I think it's, my 9-year-old, he's almost 10, and he'll come and he'll talk to me about the most amazing things. And there have been times where I'm so busy and it's like, baby love, I got to get this done. But whenever I sit there and take the time to listen to him, man, he's just a genius. He's almost 10. Like, he's just this incredibly intelligent child who has beautiful, big thoughts. And he has really deep and meaningful questions. And, it's like a shame to miss that. And if I would continue to stay just completely consumed in my desktop or in my phone, there'd be so many of these good conversations that we've been having that I'd miss out on. And I know that there are plenty that I have missed out on, which breaks my heart. And honestly, tip number 3 is be okay with going slow to go fast. I don't know if you've ever heard this concept, but go slow to go fast. Be mindful about the business you're building, of course, and have a strategy to grow it over time. But no, especially if you're just starting out, or you're not quite to the point where you can have employees or VAs working for you, or whatever, having a team to help you out. If you're a solopreneur and a mompreneur, and you're trying to build something fast, I'd encourage you to be okay with just taking some time to go slow, because eventually, just like anything else that creates success, doing little acts every single day towards a goal will get you to that goal. Somebody who's single, who doesn't have a husband, who doesn't have children, who's not married, who whatever, doesn't have relationships that kind of need their attention. Single folks are just really, they've got more time and less responsibility to these other relationship dynamics, that they can probably explode a lot faster than somebody in our shoes. And, I see a lot of moms out there that are doing home-based businesses that they're everywhere and they're all over the place, and they have this outward look of success. But I know that what we see outwardly is not always reflective of what is going on behind the scenes. And I do wonder, what is their relationship like with their children? Are they spending the time that they need with their children? Are their children getting from them what they need? And it's not my place to judge, and it's not something I intend to do, but it's just something I wonder about, and I think that our children are so much more important than building a massive business at this time. I think, it will come, and it will come in its own beautiful way, but I don't believe neglecting your children is worth it. And so I hope that, you get some encouragement out of there, knowing that there's a lot of mamas out there that are building businesses, that are striving hard. They're working hard towards creating great things for themselves, for their families, for their children, for legacy. But children and family should definitely come first. And if in any way you can incorporate your children into your business, that's even better. One thing that I do with my children is, I'm teaching my child, my oldest right now, how to do video editing, because that would be super helpful, not only for me, but he wants to have a YouTube channel, and mama's not going to edit those videos. He's got to learn how to do that himself. So figuring out ways how you can include your children into your business and teach them a skill, as well as have that facilitate a way of bonding with them. Beautiful. It's really beautiful. So 3 simple tips. Don't leave your kids behind. They grow up way too fast. It's not worth building a legacy for your children if your children grow up to hate you because you neglected them. And we all know the psychological effects our parents have had on us, right? all of us adults, we're all just hurt children that are trying to get over the pain of our childhood and these broken little kids that are inside of us. And what we do by being so focused on building beautiful legacies for our children, end up doing the same thing to our kids. We end up causing psychological issues with our kids, and they grow up being hurt because mommy and daddy were not there for them. They weren't seen or whatever. So it's like, it is something that I think we should really be mindful of. I don't hear enough people speaking about this, about, taking the time to really tend to your children while growing a business, especially a home-based business. Because just because you're sharing the same household with your children does not mean that you are with your children. And it's just the same thing as, a spouse, you and your spouse, not really connecting, even though you might be sleeping in the same bed and eating at the same table. If your faces are always in this thing, you're not really connecting on a deep level, and that's going to hurt your marriage. So same thing with your children. Be mindful of them, spend time with them, think about the fact that they are what you're working towards. So, take the time to care for them in this moment. And definitely be okay with going slow to go fast. One day they will be out of the house. My almost 10-year-old, in 10 years, he may be out of the house. He may be in his own apartment. He may be married, for all I know. God help us. I hope that's not the case, but it could be. It's possible. It's possible. And in 10 years from now, I can still have my business, and my business can be exploding, and that's okay, because my kids will be a lot older and they'd be a lot more emotionally capable of dealing with mommy maybe traveling or whatever, right? So I'm especially talking to mamas with little ones. I mean, all mine are under 10. So it hurts my heart when I see that my focus on the business, on the computer and growing my business has hurt them. And so it's just something I wanted to share with you today. 3 tips to make your life a little bit more sane. Just know that you're not alone. There are lots of other mamas working hard to get a home-based business growing. And we've got children that we've got to navigate with, and it's okay. It's okay to go slow, because one day all the work that you're putting in now will pay off and you'll go fast. Okay. So in the description below, there is a worksheet. It's called Know Your Why. And I think that that's so important, because most of you mamas, you're out there because of your kids, because of your family, because you want to be home with them, and because you want to have enough money coming in that you can have a beautiful life with them. And I think that getting clear on your why is so important. And it's something that we should be consistently reevaluating and looking at. I've heard some people say every 3 to 6 months, redo this assessment. And so I put together a worksheet for you. Lots of different questions I've heard over the years and I've addressed over the years with myself. And so I think that they'll really help you if you haven't done a Know Your Why before, or if you've done it 100 times. I think that this would still help you out. So check it out in the description below. I made it with love for you, totally free. And I hope that it'll help you get clear and remember why you're building the business that you're building, and maybe help to give you some comfort and some room to breathe, knowing that your children, they're young now, they'll be out of the house one day, and you'll be able to build that business as fast as you want to then. But let's not neglect our kiddos in the process, okay? So until we meet again, it's a pleasure speaking with you. I love you, mamas. You guys inspire me. Just remember, kiddos and family first. Your business will come. Have a beautiful day.